issue number 67.
Or for Colin, issue 31.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is Colin, and next to me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
Shut up. And as always, we're joined by our producer, Richard, who doesn't say words. Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you. Well, I say it grudgingly, K-Cross 202 for life.
For life!
This What Colin Does comes from, of course, K-Cross 202 with a 5-star review on iTunes. They go on to say, very enjoyable shows, well balanced in knowledge and jokes that make you want to binge listen every show. If you like DC Comics, then this is the show for you. Also, if you ever have a question to ask the Dr. DC, just post it on their Instagram and they will answer it. Colin loves Instagram. It's true.
Actually. Direct Colin.
I fucking love you, K-Cross. That's
amazing.
That's the best one.
I understand
that's the best one we've heard so far.
I understand now why you were sitting on that for a couple of weeks.
That was really
waiting for Colin.
And in news, we're going to skip it.
Yeah, let's not skip it. You guys got enough news this week.
This week's theme, Wild Wild West.
Wicked Wild Wild West.
Jim West, Desperado, Rough Rider. No, you don't want nada.
Wicked West. Wicked Wild Wild West.
And we're going to jump into some questions.
Hold on.
Do you have like an appointment?
I'm stoked to do this because
Westerns was one of the ones that made it into our Fanagar voting thing. It didn't win, but we did promise that we would get to some of those topics anyway. So yeah, we're talking about Westerns, cowboy heroes, things like set in the Wild West. Western, like as comics as a genre, were a thing in the way that war comics were or romance comics.
Yeah.
There's a history of Westerns. So, we'll dive into some of that stuff. Yeah. And we're skipping the news because we've made a whole news special for you this week.
Yeah.
So there's so much of it.
I'm super stoked. This is also reminds me of Supernatural. Supernatural
Is there a Wild West?
The only one little bit of news that I would like to talk about is Robert De Niro possibly being in a Joker film.
It's just the conversation that's happening.
Yeah.
I would like to hear more about that conversation sometime.
Yeah, that's all I know.
Apparently he's going to be playing some kind of mobster, I think. Which,
yeah.
if you're being a mobster, it's
fucking De Niro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth it. But yeah, no.
But that's for that Joaquin Phoenix one, the like low budget kind of other Elseworld one. Yeah.
There's a whole thing on Supernatural where they basically
they go into
they need to have a gun that can kill demons.
Okay.
And they find out that the Winchester rifle, like the guy who created the actual Winchester, was actually like a demon hunter. And so they have to go they go back in time to get the gun from him.
Oh.
And they go back to the Old West and like
interesting.
And their clothes are like brand new. So
they make a whole joke about that. Yeah.
No one buys their shit.
It's because the one guy like loves Old West stuff, and so he dresses all up like he's gonna be going to the Old West, and they all make fun of him because they're like, nobody dresses like that. Like, what are you doing? And he keeps trying to like use all the sayings, and they're like, "What are you talking
Partner?
about?" Yeah, it's very very funny.
I didn't know that show did time travel.
Oh, very well.
So many reasons.
You need to watch Supernatural.
You really do.
13 fucking seasons.
I know.
Worth every goddamn.
Just do a season a year, even. Just like you got time.
Listen,
there's only gonna be one more season, I think.
If Colin gets through all of Gotham, the 5th season was the last season.
Done.
If Colin watches every episode of Gotham, I will watch all of Supernatural.
Oh, here we go.
It's fucking on.
All right, let's
shake on it right now.
Okay.
Oh, don't spit in it.
It's not the first time I've said that to him.
Well, someone holds their hand out.
All right, let's head to the questions.
Let's go to questions on Facebook.
I'm sorry, I'm just so used to doing this job so much lately. Where are we going?
I know, you're kind of throwing us off our rhythm.
And in news, I'm retiring.
Oh, there we go. See, I called
Dan
it.
Rather, I'm out. Dan, I'd rather be somewhere else. Adam Upper asks...
Wait, You have been out of this. No, say Facebook again.
Facebook.
Going to the face and the book. Going to the Facebook.
Holy shit, this is what I mean. We're like,
He's still
out of sync
He's
now.
still got it. Out of sync, onto the counter. Adam Upper asks, isn't it kind of funny that people, including me, forget about the terrible live action
Never
movie?
forget. Hashtag never forget.
Yeah, that's
9/11.
That's what that hashtag
This is the comic book's 9/11.
Oh. I don't know. That's an insensitively put, but interesting question.
Yeah. Well, it's between that or Suicide Squad. So
Did either of you guys watch that Jonah Hex movie?
I tried to.
With Josh Brolin.
Yeah, I tried to. The worst
John
actress
Malkovich.
ever.
Can we
I
pull up
hate
the
her so
trailer
much.
so like Colin can just see the trailer for it? You can, because I think you can tell from the trailer that it's not good.
That is just going to be a bag of hammers.
It's
At a kid's party.
It was not a great movie. But it'll also give Colin like a visual of Jonah Hex, which is something.
It's true.
Oh, it's Josh Brolin. That guy's cool as hell.
It's Richard Brolin to you.
I forgot how many people were in that movie.
I forgot how much I hate
Michael
Megan Fox.
Fassbender was in there.
Okay, so that movie looks like just a smorgasbord of A-listers, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, guys, let me write the one-liners.
Right. What's unfortunate about
future is bright. And
what's unfortunate about this movie is they basically like wild wested Jonah Hex. Like Jonah Hex in the comics is way more grounded than everything in there. Doesn't talk to the undead. It's not like future tech in the old timey. Like I almost expected the the fucking spider from the end of Wild Wild West.
Is it weird that I kind of enjoyed that trailer a little bit though?
Yes.
I will say, as we were watching the trailer is far
Better
better
than the movie,
Far better
yeah.
than the movie. I was expecting it to show how bad the movie was a bit more than it did.
It did not.
But they really like basically Wild Wild West Jonah Hex, which is too bad because the character is really, really interesting, very tragic. But like also you can do fun things with that character. He does have run-ins with the supernatural or time travel or things like that, but they basically eschewed all that for like a really generic like steampunk western basically is what they did, which is too bad. So yes, hashtag never forget.
Hashtag comic book 9/11.
Let's not use that one.
Can we just put...
I don't know that I'm ready for that.
What about comic book 911? As in like... As an
Sure, yeah. Call somebody
Yes.
because it's an emergency.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
That's a good spin. Thank you.
Okay, so Matthew Polger has a question. And he
right.
goes on to say, why do you think comics seem to especially love combining westerns with the supernatural? Between titles like Jonah Hex, Preacher, and American Vampire, just to name a few, I'd say it seems to be a trend.
Yeah, actually, I think this also came up in our War Comics episode. I do think that there's something to like a certain genre, like a specific genre comic where you kind of can blend it with something else.
Yeah.
In the case of both War and the West, at least the way we write the Old West, it's very much like you can get lots of these like lone gunman stories or like just a group like setting out to set something right, you know, whatever.
Gosh darn it.
So I think the supernatural element comes from the idea that they're probably piling up the dead as they go. You know, like a modern superhero comic, there's lots of superheroes that kill, but it's that idea of like the redemption thing is maybe a bit bigger. But in the era of the Old West, you expect gun shootouts and, you know, knife fights and like whips and horses and tramplings and trains and stuff
Something
like
kind of
that.
spooky about that too, to be honest.
Well,
you know?
well, that too. But what I mean is and in War and that, if you're racking up the dead, it kind of makes sense to bring in like what happens after. What's the heaven and hell situation like? Like what's your redemption as maybe like a bounty hunter? Like you're killing people for a living. Do you care about what happens to your soul? But like I think there are natural story connections there. In the case of Jonah Hex, like I just said, he's had lots of run-ins with it. There have been zombies in Jonah Hex stories. Booster Gold has run into Jonah Hex. Like
Also,
he's come to the future. People have gone back to the past. Like Jonah Hex has run-ins with superheroes. He's teamed up with Superman. Like he has an experience beyond the typical Wild West.
Yeah.
It does seem to fit. Do you either you guys like read Preacher or anything like that? The other stuff that was mentioned in this?
I watched the first season,
Yeah.
and I started watching the second season, and it just didn't really capture me as much.
Sure.
I never got a chance to read the comics, but I've heard they're very, very good. I think for me, I like that sort of like vibe, at least. Like I like that sort of Old West and supernatural thing. Like I love From Dusk Till Dawn. Like that's a great movie.
I think there's a natural connection between westerns and horror too, because like, have you guys seen Bone Tomahawk? So it's basically like a horror western with Kurt Russell. It only came out maybe like 4 years ago. It's relatively recent. It's very, very good.
No, yeah, I don't know.
I do think there's some sort of connection. I don't know that I'm smart enough to isolate what it is, but something about the supernatural and specifically like the spiritual, like heaven and hell, demons and angels.
Well, I think that because there's a lot of like, there's a lot of religion tied to that time period as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, like there was a lot of, traveling preachers and that kind of stuff. And that kind of insane divide of like, even like fortune tellers became a big thing around that time too.
And I think you also get, I mean, this is probably not always or often written that well, but you also get the angle, with the First Nations and any sort of,
I think it's something that we should address.
A lot of Wild West stories, I think, have some sort of like shamanistic thing, or, like peyote in the desert, like whatever that sort of bastardization of that spirituality is. I think that gets woven in there too, that there's like another sort of plane to perception or existence or things like that. Maybe that's another window to the supernatural, is the First Nations angle.
I think that's something that we should address, because I think we have a lot. Most of our listeners are American, actually, like a bulk of them, right? So in America, a lot of the time the First Nations can, like, even themselves refer to themselves as Indians.
The terminology is certainly different.
So yes. So just for anybody who's listening, we're going to say First Nations a lot. I mean, we've been definitely taught that way.
Yeah.
It's the same concept as the people who were here first, and so the native culture.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that like people might be like, who are they talking about? But yeah, that's what we're referring to.
There's definitely those. I mean,
because up here, but the First Nations do not like being called Indians.
Yes. To give a very quick example of a character insensitively named, there's, I think, Pow Wow Smith was an old Western character.
Well, I was doing some research today, and I saw that, and I was like, woof.
With the feathered headdress and, like everything you would expect.
Yeah.
From basically like a Native American caricature. That's Pow Wow Smith. So I think that's in there. It's that like Lone Ranger-y kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Moving on to Twitter.
To the Twitter.
You okay?
No, not for a long time.
Okay. No, never mind.
It started when I was a child. And
Colin.
he just said come into his basement.
Colin.
I thought it was okay.
Do some fucking work.
I thought he said that he had toys.
I hate you.
They were never the type of toys that I thought they were going to be.
Jesus Christ.
I can keep going if you really want me to.
I really don't want you to keep going.
Then fucking
that's what I said.
Say literally. I'll do it.
Okay, so Talking Superman has a question. Oh God, I miss this so much.
I hate you so much.
Such a different podcast than when he's not here.
I finally started to get some sunshine in my life, so it's been different. What was the event that created a motive for Gentleman Ghost to hate the Hawks and their late incarnation?
We haven't talked about Gentleman Ghost yet.
No, Gentleman Ghost. This is a new one. So
Gentleman Ghost.
The Gentleman Ghost.
I said a boom.
You actually nice. You might like the sound of this character, Colin. Gentleman Ghost.
Does he kind of sound like ooh?
Sorry, I don't mean like the literal sound.
A woo.
I didn't mean.
May I come behind you and help you create this clay pot? Gentleman Ghost.
Right. So, what I meant is you might like the description of this character, not actually how he sounds. So Jim Craddock, Gentleman Jim Craddock, is like a 19th or 18th century, basically like highwayman. He like holds up stagecoaches and stuff like that. But he's from England,
so he's tight with Willie Nelson.
Top hat, monocle, all that kind of stuff. And he comes to America.
He's kind of a dandy then,
a little bit. And he comes to America, and he was told. Like by a gypsy before he comes over that he's going to get killed by hanging or whatever, and he sort of doesn't listen to the gypsy. He comes to America and he encounters these two basically like cowboy heroes, Nighthawk and Cinnamon. And he's falsely accused.
Sorry, Nighthawk and Cinnamon?
Sounds like strippers' name.
He's falsely accused of
I'm Nighthawk.
sexually assaulting Cinnamon. He didn't do it, but he's accused of it, and Nighthawk hangs him. Now, what he didn't know is that Nighthawk and Cinnamon are a particular reincarnation of Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Before they were Hawkman and Hawkgirl in the modern day, they were Nighthawk and Cinnamon.
Oh,
so
they're great-great-grandparents.
So Gentleman Jim, his ghost hangs around so that he can get vengeance and kill... And
hangs around, because he was hung.
Yeah, that was unintentional. He hangs around so he can get revenge by killing his executioner. But his executioner reincarnates. So Gentleman Ghost can never rest.
Oh.
Because every time Hawkman and Hawkgirl in whatever incarnation are killed, they reincarnate again. So Jim Craddock's ghost never can rest because Hawkman and Hawkgirl can never completely die.
That's
wow.
awesome.
So he's a frequent villain of Hawkman and Hawkgirl. But basically, the thing that set his story in motion was that he was assumed to be someone who would try to assault Cinnamon. He didn't actually do it. It was like a mistake. He was wrongfully executed, and now he's trapped in eternity. So that's why he hates them so much. It's what makes him a villain now. But his ghost form, you don't see his face, like he's invisible, but it's like a white top hat and a floating monocle and like a cummerbund and like the 3-piece kind of thing. He's in a cane.
You have a pocket watch?
Very dandy.
It never moves.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no arms on it.
But that's roughly the story of Gentleman Ghost, and that's where his story began, is in the Old West with Nighthawk and Cinnamon.
I would never do that to that woman. All I can say is, she's not my type. Boo.
I don't necessarily love jokes surrounding that particular... What's the next question?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're referring to.
I think what he meant was she's not my spice of tea.
Oh, yeah, you're headed there. Yeah.
There's a joke in there.
I hope not.
She runs a little too spicy for me.
Oh, Cinnamon. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Boo.
Anyways.
I gotta edit out.
Kirk Spencer asks, do you think Jonah Hex's history as a Confederate soldier makes the character problematic in today's market? Yeah, why not? Into the word.
No. So, yeah, Jonah Hex, when the Civil War breaks out, he does join the Confederacy. But it should be noted that as the war continues, he realizes he can't side with basically slavery. Jonah Hex himself having been a slave in his lifetime.
Oh.
So he
kind of is a slave in the afterlife.
To be honest, it kind of takes him too long to reach that conclusion for someone who was also a slave. But his thing during the Civil War is that he decided he couldn't keep fighting for the South, but he also couldn't betray his like comrades or that. So he just surrenders. That's his. He said, "I'll just surrender. I'll sit out the rest of the war. That way, I'm not a turncoat. I'm not like betraying anyone. I'm not going to rat them out." Blah, blah, blah. So he surrenders, and obviously the Union like interrogates him. They try and find out the location of the Confederate camp.
Yeah.
He doesn't give it to them, but they find it out anyway. And when they raid the camp, they basically like thank him.
Oh.
So the other Confederates think he turned coat.
Oh shit.
And then that's ultimately what leads to the brand.
Oh.
There's some other steps involved, but eventually he gets the brand. It's called the Mark of the Demon from the I think the Apaches give it to him, but it's this long list of betrayals and false betrayals that include that he was sort of wrongfully credited with turning on his comrades.
Wow.
So Jonah Hex, actually, I don't think it's problematic because in the middle of the Civil War, he has a crisis of conscience, basically.
Well, that's good.
He tries to do the right thing. It doesn't go well for him, but he's not. It's not like the Haunted Tank, where that's a Confederate general who's like, "Yeah, we're fighting for the right things."
No, I said I wouldn't want to be a Confederate. Topical.
Oh, the wood wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I'm trying to push so much of that out of my mind. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't there for that.
Tough crowd.
But yeah, no, short answer, I actually don't think that's problematic. Do you guys have...
No, I agree with that. That makes sense.
Yeah, whatever.
Good contribution.
Yeah, as per usual.
Into the Weird asks, are the Vertigo Jonah Hill stories...
Jonah Hex.
I said Jonah Hill, didn't I? Fuck. Jonah Hex. Ah, Christ.
What's that scamp going to get up to now?
Whoa. Is he fat or skinny? I never know.
Anyways.
He does kind of...
Yeah.
Two Gun Mojo, Riders of the Worm...
Riders of the Worm.
Riders of the Worm and such.
Riders of the Worm and such. Considered a part of the post-crisis, pre-Flashpoint canon, or are they considered a separate continuity?
So some of those Vertigo titles were meant to be kind of separate. They were also meant to be like more mature stories. So stuff like Sandman and that, Swamp Thing, Constantine. A bunch of those were kind of their own thing. They would connect to each other and they would reference the main DC universe. But basically what ended up happening for most of them is that they are technically canon. I think if maybe you look at all of the details, they don't necessarily line up perfectly, but that's comic books, right?
Yeah.
We just finished talking about Hawkman and Hawkgirl. We know that stuff doesn't line up all the time. But I actually think that those Jonah Hex stories are canon. But to that era between Crisis on Infinite Earths and Flashpoint. So the first one that he mentioned there was
Two Gun Mojo.
I think that's the
Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo. Two Gun Mojo is the zombie story. So he encounters zombies in there. And then the one with the worm and such, it's like an actual like worm. There's like worm half-breed people that he ends up slaughtering and stuff like that. Like it goes to that weird sort of supernatural kind of place. But I do think they're technically
And such.
canon. Yeah, I have no reason to believe that they aren't.
Have you read any of these?
I read not Riders of the Worm. I read Two Gun Mojo.
Yeah. It's a great name.
It's awesome. It's a great story too. Actually, I really like that Jonah Hex series. I haven't read Riders of the Worms.
Is there like a direct connection to Flashpoint?
Not through those stories. Those stories were like not butting up against Flashpoint. They were just from that era between like 1985 and 2011. Right?
Okay.
But yeah, there's no reason to think they're not canon.
All right. Well, the Dr. DC podcast will be back after this quick break. Well, howdy there, residents. This episode of the Dr. DC podcast is brought to you thanks to this sponsor, Great Lakes Groom & Co. They sent us some products to try. Personal favorites of mine are as follows. Got a beard oil. Many different scents. My favorite has gotta be the Trusty Woods. You apply some of that after you pour a bucket of water near the pig slop after a long day of working in the farm and rustling up the cattle. All you need to just brush some of that into your beard and it'd be nice and soft for you. Working all day the way that a man is supposed to. Working the land, tilling the soil, get your lips nice and chapped. Something you're gonna need for yourself is a lip balm of some sort. Now you might think this some sort of fancy city way of living, but the peppermint lime lip balm is one that I cannot live without. Great Lakes Grooming is meant to be easy to use, rain or shine. Often over the plains and in the distance you can see the rain coming. Maybe too much for most men, but not for me, not for Great Lakes Grooming. All their products are purposely designed and environmentally responsible. It's important to be responsible to your environment when you depend on it the way that a cowboy like myself or a farmer may do so. It's handmade here in Canada, just like me, ready for adventure wherever one may find themselves. And for you lucky listeners, you can get 10% off on Great Lakes regular price products. all you gotta do is go to one of them fandangled internet websites. You get your W's. You go to Great Lakes Grooming and then the .com at the end. Use this promo code, whatever that might stand for. You put in the DRDC podcast all together. That's right. Easy as pie sitting on a windowsill. Now, back to the show. All right, are we back?
We're back.
I think you're in control of that.
Yeah, you control that.
Why?
And we're back.
We're back! Time for everybody's favorite game!
Oh, we got a game?
Oh, yeah, everybody's new favorite game. It's called Figure, Go Figure.
Is this Christian rock? What are we listening to? Jesus.
Have you ever had a silly question about...
Oh, that shouldn't.
What was that?
Don't worry about it. Slowly making my own episode.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You're just stealing my voice. Okay, so let's play this game.
Yeah, so...
Figure, go figure?
Yes, Figure, Go Figure.
Okay.
So this is all about... I was going to do a Western thing, but I just couldn't figure it enough, and I didn't have enough time. So
go figure.
So
this is all about Batman figures.
Okay.
Some of the weirder Batman figures that existed. So same rules as the last one.
Right.
Which is basically I'll give you guys 5 examples of Batman figures, and you tell me which one's the real one.
Right. So 4 of them are fake.
Yes.
Okay.
No. 4 of them are real.
Okay.
One of them is fake.
So we
sorry.
pick out the fake.
Yes,
Right.
you pick out the fake. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first one, Laser Batman. Batman's packing a giant laser, and he isn't afraid to use it. Number 2, Deep Dive Batman. Who needs Aquaman when you've got this underwater jetpack? Hurricane Batman. Your mighty gun of hose water will fight off the forces of evil, or at least to annoy your friends and siblings. Bob. Everyone remembers Bob, the Joker's most famous goon from the 1989 Batman flick.
Bob
you know,
the Goon.
Bob.
Bob the Goon.
Yeah. Or the final one, Bat Signal Jet. It's all about branding with this mountable spotlight. Don't worry, it also fires a missile.
Interesting. All right, Colin, which of those do you think is not a
Laser
real...
Batman.
I'm going to say Bat Signal Jet.
It's actually Hurricane Batman.
Fuck. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounded like a thing that would be like a branded Super Soaker or something. Like,
No. There actually is a Bat Signal Jet, and it's literally just looks like a torpedo, and it's like works like a flashlight. You press it, and it shoots out the spotlight. It's
Right.
the most useless thing ever. All right,
Good one.
going to the next one.
All right, let's do it.
First one, Antivirus Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Bioterrorism be damned with Antivirus Bruce Wayne.
Sure.
Number 2, Fractal Armor Batman. Remember how cool Borg Picard was? Yeah, sort of like that.
Okay.
Slalom Racer Batman. Who doesn't like losing their toys in the snow?
Okay.
Tornado Batman. Want to defend Gotham with a light summer's breeze? Look no further. Just pull the ripcord over and over and over and over. Or Vampire Hunter Batman. I love bats, but I hate crime. How will Batman deal with his conflict of conscience?
I'm gonna say the Borg one is the fake one. What about you, Colin?
I gotta say the Slalom Batman.
That sounds like an actual toy. Slalom Batman?
Yeah, it totally was.
Yeah.
So was the other one.
Borg one?
Yeah, Vampire Hunter Batman.
Really?
Yeah, there is a vampire Batman,
But not Vampire Hunter.
not Vampire Hunter.
Fuck.
I know. Yeah.
Damn you, semantics.
All right.
Semantics be damned.
Number 3.
My favorite part about this game is how related it is to the topic.
What? I didn't have that much time in it. I'd already pre-made this one before. So fuck you.
Go figure.
First one. Battleboard Batman.
Okay.
This figure has it all. Awkward, useless, tiny vehicle? Check. Rocket launcher for blowing your enemies to kingdom come? Check. Strange, shiny purple costume? You know that's a check.
Okay.
Extreme Sports Batman. Just how extreme is Extreme Sports Batman? So extreme that he needs goggles over his mask while busting out rad moves on his scooter.
I really want that to be fake, but I have doubts.
Infrared Batman. We all know how terrorizing infrared beams are. Now you can shoot them in plastic disc form right from your head. Ground assault Batman. Batman is known best for all of his awesome vehicles in the comics, so you know this little purple sled with projectile axe has to be good.
Okay.
And the final one, Landstrike Batman. What's cooler than a giant honking claw sticking out of the Batman's back? What goes better with a giant green claw? How about an awesome outfit that also makes you look like you're kind of like a leopard using spin art?
Colin, this is you, man.
Jesus. A lot of that information just broke my brain, I think.
So there's Battleboard Batman, Extreme Sports Batman, Infrared Batman, Ground Assault Batman, and Landstrike Batman.
I think it's Battleboard Batman is the fake one.
I think it's the last one with the shit coming out of his back.
The Landstrike?
Yeah.
It's Extreme Sports Batman. You were right.
What?
They
made Slalom Batman and not Extreme Sports Batman.
I couldn't see that one not being real.
Okay,
Yeah, I was convinced that was a 90s toy.
well, it is real, but it's not Batman. All of these so far have been Spider-Man.
Curious. Go figure.
So basically, the whole game was rigged.
How is it rigged?
Well, those are all real toys.
They are real toys. It's not about if it's a real toy. It's about is it a Batman toy or not.
Oh, you fucker.
Go figure.
All right, here we go. First one, Safari Batman.
Oh, we're still going, even though you exposed the lie?
It's not a lie. It's still fake. It's just not Batman.
Okay, sure.
Safari Batman.
So we're getting even further from the theme.
Yeah. Traverse the harsh landscape and the barren stretches of Gotham with only his wit and khakis to help guide his way. Okay. With such a brilliant disguise, not even the Joker would recognize this nightly nemesis.
Right.
Wit and khakis. I like that a lot.
Just Spider-Man in cargo shorts.
Just pulling web out.
I need...
That's the greatest thing about cargo shorts.
Just a loose web.
All right. Second one.
Pockets for days.
Night Star Batman. What's the only problem with Batman? You can see him from miles away. You can't see him from miles away. Well, no longer with his neon green Batmobile.
Okay.
I love that we're both now thinking, like, would that fit Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I didn't say Spider-Man would continue.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
God damn it.
Talon Strike Robin.
How deep does this deception go?
With cargo pants, Spider-Man is awesome.
Talon Strike Robin. For too long has Robin been the butt of the joke. Watch as Dick Grayson terrorizes the skies with his new mechanical wings and giant yellow claws.
Okay.
Claw Climber Batman. Batman is pretty well known for his skills and acrobatics that help him move so deftly through the Gotham City. But fighting crime is exhausting, so belly up with this massive wall climbing machine, but do it in style with a glittering purple batsuit, of course.
I think it's the light up Batman.
There's one more.
Oh, really?
There's one more.
Oh, it's felt like there have been 8.
Nope. Final one. Street Biker Robin. Motorcycle? Nope. Sweet leather jacket? Definitely nope. Giant black leather suitcase that shoots missiles? You better believe it, buddy.
That one's got to be real. I'm still saying light up Batman. Or whatever it was called, like Nightlight Batman. Or
Night Star Batmobile?
Night Star, that one.
I'm going Safari Batman.
You're right.
Yes, finally, one of us is in the lead.
That was a Spider-Man thing, too. There was some
cargo shorts of loose web.
It's like Pockets Full of Sunshine, but not a shitty pop song, just pockets full of...
Right, just loose web.
Oh, so far Colin's in the lead with one.
Colin's in the league in the game of lies.
What's always a game of lies? Usually I just am more creative and write them.
Go figure.
Actually, no, because the last time we played this game, I took it all from 007 characters. So
wait, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I'm just lied to every week.
Yes, regardless, it's a lie.
Like when you tell me we have listeners.
Whew. All right, first one: Steel Shock Batman. Oversized arms, undersized legs, and a covered in platinum. You're damn right it is.
Okay.
Dark Warrior Batman. S&M purple and black dungeon Batman with a spiked battle shield. Meow. He even has his own mace for all those naughty villains.
Hey.
Fist Fury Batman.
Oh, I hope that's not related to the last one.
Time to oil up and show Gotham what you're really made of with this bare-chested brawler. Don't worry, you're still wearing pants. Neon green pants, that of course. Hoverjet Batman. Everyone's favorite look for Batman. Purple. Then let him carefully balance on some sort of weird disc board segue. Oh, and add a giant American Gladiator melee weapon for good measure. And finally, Drill Cannon Batman. Did you know Batman loves the giant wrist-mounted rocket launchers? Oh, of course he does. How else do you think that he's able to stop all those bad guys? He blows them up to bits with weaponry so heavy and unwieldy, no one else this side of Superman should be able to lift it.
I'm going to say Mr. Fister Batman is the fake one.
That's the one I'm going with too.
Fist Fury Batman?
Sure, Mr.
No, it's
Fister.
Steel Shock Batman.
Steel Shocker.
And finally,
Are all these just sex toys?
the last one.
I'm also confused about what is real in this game now.
It's all real.
But you said these aren't Batman toys.
No. They're all Batman toys except for the ones that are fake.
Oh,
Those are
sorry.
Spider-Man
I thought you were
toys.
saying none of the toys were Batman toys. And I was like, then why are we playing the game?
Why would I do that? No.
Just gives me just
No.
Okay,
point
the fake one.
randomly.
I see what you're
The
doing.
fake one is because I'm making fun of Spider. Jesus
I
Christ!
just thought the whole thing was a fabrication. I thought we were really peeking behind the curtain.
No, God, no. I'm not that bad. I actually want to.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
No. Dark Warrior Batman is a real thing.
Okay. So Mr. Fister Batman's a real thing.
So this one, last one,
fuck.
is all real or all fake?
Are these toys
Okay.
for kids? Like
All real
Oh, yeah.
or all fake?
All real or all fake? First one, Space Batman. It's a well-known fact that you all need space travel with one of those jumpsuits that look like Earth, Wind, and Fire wore on Soul Train, and an opaque red fishbowl for a head.
who helped you write this?
I wrote it
The
myself.
writing's not the problem.
Also, don't worry about gloves for your spacesuit. You're Batman.
Right.
Next one, Beach Batman. How else will Bruce
gotta
Wayne
be
get to
real.
show off his massive calf muscles that get more sun than the rest of his body? Or maybe the sleeveless shirt with his name and a totally rad wave painted across it. Or maybe the completely useless baseball cap, which is obviously worn backwards. Or Kapow Batman, half Rock'em Sock'em Robot, half Cape Crusader. Or Navy SEAL Batman. Bet you didn't know the Batman with a leather neck. It's true. And both he and Jesse Ventura got the drop on Charlie back in the day. Or finally,
Jesus.
Future Batman. In a world before Batman Beyond comes Future Batman. More neon armor, more clunky armor. Watch out, Gotham.
I'm gonna have to say real.
I'm going to say Navy SEAL Batman.
No. They're all real or all fake.
All real or all fake? Oh, fuck, that's right. I'm saying fake.
It's all fake. These are all Spider-Man.
Tied her up.
Amazing.
These are all Spider-Man.
Shit, there goes my confidence.
The best is that the Navy SEAL one comes with a rope. For
The
Spider-Man.
one thing Spider-Man does not need.
Well, if
His rope.
if he's a Navy SEAL and it's in the water, then
Or
yeah,
Space Batman, Space Spider-Man. Why does it need to be Space Spider-Man?
I mean, he had some cosmic adventures.
For a long time, they just treated him like Ken, and they just started putting
Yeah.
the beach Spider-Man. I urge you all to look up. It's hilarious.
Beach Spider-Man's funny.
Yeah,
We'll have that up on our Twitter for sure.
yeah, we can definitely do that. I do love Safari Spider-Man though. It's really funny.
I have to say, I'm a lot happier now that I know that the whole game's not a lie, because for a bit, I was like, why are we doing
I was just like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's fun. It's just the fake one's not still fake.
I understand now.
Yeah, I'm just not that creative.
No, fair enough. That's fine.
Are you kidding me? I was loving the descriptions on those. Those are hilarious.
Yeah, I did write all those.
awesome.
That's where most of my time went today.
Can you like?
I picture him. He's finished it up, and he's like, "You did it. You wrote something amazing. You're so good. I'm proud of you. What's the theme? Oh, fuck."
No, this is what I did. I went, how can I make a Western game? And I was like, fuck,
I
this. I was like, this is going to take so much work. And then I was
That's
just
fair.
like, Batman toys. Boom, there we go.
Fair enough.
Amazing.
Hope you guys played along at home.
Yeah.
Jump over to Instagram.
And check out our merch website where we're selling cargo shorts full of loose web.
Oh, man, as a teen, I definitely had loose web in my cargo shorts. Yeah, we're going to Instagram. Take some questions and answer them.
oh Jesus!
First question comes from
The real Josh Gill.
Gil.
Do you think the absence of a Superman or Batman paralleled help or hurt the Justice Riders Elseworld book?
Have you guys ever seen or heard of the Justice Riders?
No.
So, it was an Elseworld book. It now counts, I think, as Earth 18 of the multiverse. But basically, in this world, it's set in the Old West. Wonder Woman is basically like a cowboy type. Booster Gold has some sort of like future tech that's invented for him by Theodore Cord. John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, he is still an alien, but Wild West style. There's the Flash and Kid Flash are like quick draws.
Nice.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. So that whole story, yeah, it takes place in this Wild West world. But as Josh has brought up, there's not really like a version of Batman or a version of Superman in that. Except at the very end of the story.
What?
The story, I think itself, is being written by Clark Kent. Yeah. But for all intents and purposes, there's not
and
really...
Batman's his editor.
Yeah, it's like, this is crap.
It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
I told you stop using word.
I
Typewriter.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wayne.
I swear to God, it's the first time, it's the last time I ask you this question. Do you use pages and do you indent?
I'm so sorry, but I'm used to using a computer, but now in the Old West, I have to type it by hand. It's very difficult.
I swear to God, I ask you to use whiteout just once and you give me this weird look and walk away. I don't understand.
It's called Control S.
It hasn't been invented yet, Master Wayne.
I know, then why did you give me that weird look, go around the corner and say, I made whiteout?
Nothing, Master Wayne.
I don't think it hurt the Justice Riders book. It stands well on its own. It's a cool story. In the story, Maxwell Lord is the villain, but Felix Faust is in there. There's an element of sorcery and things like that.
Of course there is. It's the West.
Right? Just like we've been talking about. I think... I actually side with Colin. I think it might actually be better off without Superman and Batman in there. I think sometimes we get too caught up on them. It's neat to see other characters like Flash and Kid Flash. Guy Gardner is in that story. Yeah, like I said, Blue Beetle and Booster Gold in some form show up in there. It's neat to see other characters, and I think they do sometimes get overshadowed by Superman and Batman. So I actually do prefer it without. And I believe Earth 18 still doesn't have a Superman. They might have introduced Batlash, who's not really a Batman character, despite the Bat word being in there. Batlash was a different Western character, but I think Batlash is now also part of Earth 18, as is like Super Chief and some other like Western themed characters.
Josh had another question.
Sure.
He says, was Nathan Fillion's Vigilante on Justice League the best portrayal of the character, or was it the best portrayal of the character?
Nathan Fillion?
Sorry, Arrow.
Leading question.
Nathan Fillion?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so he voiced a character called Vigilante.
I love Nathan.
Just because, like, Firefly was gone and they wanted to give him that role again?
Well, I know, because he's kind of Western in Firefly.
Yeah.
So,
also, bring back Firefly.
Fuck, right.
So the character of Vigilante we have talked about before, but it was a different version. There's like a modern... There's a modern day vigilante whose name is Adrian Chase, who's basically just like the Punisher. But the original, like the Golden Age, the first version of the character, his name was Greg Saunders, and he was like a cowboy themed vigilante. He sort of born out of his stagecoach got robbed and like stuff like that, right? So
classic stagecoach robbery.
Blue, that sort of like cowboy jacket, like that blue jacket, red kerchief that covered his face, white cap. And in the Justice League animated show, Vigilante was part of the Justice League. But in that show, they gave him this kind of big, like white motorcycle that he would ride, and he had these two pistols that never ran out of ammo, like deliberately, not just because it was a show. That was like their thing. So it was a slight update to the character that way. But basically, he's a Golden Age. He's a Golden Age hero. He was around in comics in the 40s, and he was Western themed. And he was kind of like a troubadour too, like in the show. Like he'd like sing a song and stuff like that. I think Nathan Fillion's version is great. I don't know if it's the best portrayal of the character, because there's also a version of Vigilante in Batman the Brave and the Bold, they doubled down on the troubadour thing. I really like him. He almost has like a Desperado thing where like the guitar is also like a gun and stuff like that.
Guitar!
I like that one a lot, but really, if you get the chance, you should read some of the comics. He has an archenemy called the Dummy. That was like a ventriloquist dummy. or like a person that kind of looked like a ventriloquist dummy, but you weren't sure if he was real or not.
Oh, wow, creepy.
But yeah, Vigilante is a very, very cool Western-themed character. It can get lost in the muck because that name has been used by other characters that are in no way related to that at all. So the Adrian Chase Vigilante showed up on Arrow season 5, I think, and then was also revealed to be Prometheus. Like they kind of took him in a different direction. But that Greg Saunders Golden Age one, yeah, Justice League Unlimited, that's a good show, a good introduction to that character. Batman Brave and the Bold has a good one, but read those Golden Age comics. It's cool stuff. Yeah.
I'm into it.
We've got a question from KCross202.
For life.
God.
Well, we've been spending a lot of quality time together.
Yeah.
While you've been with your other family in the Speed Force. At the Days Inn.
Eating at Shoney's.
You mean
your conference family.
You mean my real family?
Yeah, your conference family at the Days Inn.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying we're the Days Inn?
Yeah.
This is the other family?
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
She doesn't listen to this show.
Probably for the best.
Yeah.
Well, she used to.
We put her to sleep.
We put her to sleep.
Yeah.
Not like, what you do with animals at the shelter. Just,
Whoa.
No one went there.
Whoa.
anyways, K-Cross has a question, and I figured we put a lot
I'm
of darkness
offended.
on it before we get there.
Sure, let's do it.
How does Jonah Hex, I said Hex that time,
Yep.
get his powers? And what book would you recommend that really shows Jonah Hex at his best?
So here's the thing.
It's called,
Yeah, what powers does he have?
It's called What the Hex?
Jonah Hex has many encounters with the supernatural or the superpowered. And sometimes in a story, you might temporarily give someone an ability or whatever. But as a character in comic books, Jonah Hex doesn't have powers. He has abilities. He's a great marksman. He's a good tracker. He's a good hand-to-hand fighter, equestrian, all that kind of stuff. But he doesn't have powers. That movie trailer that we made Colin watch, where it says, like, now we can, they say he came back different or like whatever. And he, like, revives some
Sometimes
dead guy
dead
or
isn't
whatever.
better.
That is not a comic book thing. But Jonah Hex has lots of encounters with the supernatural. He's certainly been around it. But he himself doesn't have like necromancer powers. He doesn't have flight or time travel or things like that. But he does often become embroiled in things that involve those things. So in terms of the movie, it's something about the brand that he gets that's the mark of the demon or something like that gives him some powers in the movie. But in the comics, he doesn't really have superpowers per se. As for a good story to read, I definitely read that Vertigo run of Jonah Hex. We talked about a couple of the stories in there, Two Gun Mojo and Riders of the Worm and such. Both of those are good stories. I would also read a series called All-Star Western, but read the one that started in the New 52.
Hey, now, you're a Western. Get the show.
Somebody! So that series, I think, shows a pretty good version of Jonah Hex, but also lots of encounters with superheroes. Booster Gold shows up in that series because he's sort of time hopping. Superman shows up in that series. They have a really good thing. Actually, Colin, you'd like the exchange he has with Superman, where he's talking about, like, he basically calls Superman out for not fixing the world. He said, like, like, if we had somebody who could do what you do, we wouldn't have problems or whatever. So he's like, what are you doing? He basically says, like, I look around your world. I see people get kidnapped and hurt and there's crime and war. Blah, blah,
I
blah.
love that you got an accent while you're saying that. But
What are you talking about? Everything's totally normal. Colin, you've been in a coma for 2 years.
I'm sorry we had to tell you like this, Colin.
We've never changed our voices for this show.
This is always the way that we've sounded.
But at any rate,
sometimes dead is better.
at any rate, it's best we get back to what I was talking about.
I think that might be a mighty fine thing.
What I was talking about was I definitely don't sound like a foghorn leghorn. I say.
Indeed, no.
He totally has this whole conversation with Superman, though, where he calls him out. End of story. Nothing weird there.
Not at all, partner. Where are we going next, Colin?
Oh, God, straight to hell. Oh, fuck, probably an email or something. Andy asked...
No, where are we going?
to the email.
Check the email. Hope it's from a female.
Is that new?
Well, it's new to us.
Yeah.
It's old to the thing we've stolen it from.
And you've already done it once, but
yeah.
Anyways, Andy asks, correct me if I'm wrong, but do any Hawkman have a cowboy past life? Who are they? And are there any good stories? Is it any Hawkman or Hawkmen?
I think that maybe... Yeah, it's a slightly weirdly worded question. Well, sorry to call you out, Andy.
No, like, what's the plural of Hawkman? He keeps getting reincarnated, so it's the same guy.
But the short answer is yes. We've talked about them a little bit in the context of Gentleman Ghosts. So Nighthawk and Cinnamon are a previous life, a previous incarnation of Hawkman and Hawkgirl. But both of those characters...
Names for dogs.
Yeah. Both of those characters were actually retconned as reincarnations. They were their own Western characters in like the 40s and 50s. Nighthawk was his own thing. Cinnamon was her own thing. And it was in Crisis on Infinite Earths? Or just after that they retconned that they were past lives of... Actually, it might have even been later than that. So they found a couple of old Western characters and they were like, that is a different era. We could have a reincarnation there, and they sort of fed these old Golden Age characters back into the continuity and made them part of Hawkman and Hawkgirl's mythology. So they weren't always that way. They were just cowboy characters. Cowboy! Good stories featuring them is a little tough. I would say, though... I actually don't know that there's been a terrific, like a good story featuring Nighthawk and Cinnamon since they've become part of like Hawkman's history.
Yeah, it's not a character I'm really well versed in.
But I think there are some times where they've crossed paths with Jonah Hex and things like that, where you get a little... maybe the only one that's actually worth reading is the Origin of Gentleman Ghost. I think that one paints an interesting picture of the era. I think it does a good sort of job of portraying that time. You get a little bit of the connection to Hawkman and Hawkgirl, but really beyond that one, there's not one that jumps out at me. If anyone listening has like one that they're like, oh my God, this one's great, definitely let us know. But for me personally, it's probably just the Gentleman Ghost story that I would go to. They just haven't been explored that much.
No, definitely.
I'm actually kind of hoping in this current Hawkman series that I'm reading that we've already spent a little bit of time with Prince Khufu, like the quote unquote first life, but hopefully we'll see some of the other ones, like them in medieval times and them as Nighthawk and Cinnamon. And there's apparently a version who's a Kryptonian in the past.
Oh wow,
yeah. So
awesome.
I'm hoping we'll get to spend some time with some of them.
And Riley
last question
asks the last question.
Nice.
Are there any modern day Western heroes like that aren't on a different Earth or something?
Right.
Riley, you ask good questions.
Yeah. That aren't on a different Earth, that are not also in like the 18th century, I guess.
That's a tough question.
Vigilante kind of counts because he was... he kind of counts in the Justice Society sort of sense. I may be stretching the definition of modern, but he sort of counts. I would say, actually, I think Super Chief. I think there have been modern incarnations of Super Chief who has sort of like powers passed down, I believe, from like a sort of like Apache kind of spirituality.
That's one of those names that like sounds racist, but it's not.
It's not technically.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like you're like it's skirting with it.
Yeah.
I've got a question.
Yeah, sure.
In today's kind of description of it, what would be a modern Western hero? Because at the time, like cowboys were the like kind of that theme, that era. So what would be like the modern day version of a cowboy?
You mean that Westerns were big in the 40s and 50s when the genre was big. So what's the equivalent genre now?
Yeah. It's like the tight pants guy with tattoos and long hair and like jumping in the water.
I mean,
He
Westerns
seems pretty popular.
Westerns kind of got
West Coast. Huh?
This is going to sound like a cop-out answer.
Mahalo.
Westerns kind of got replaced by sci-fi, which I think in turn kind of got replaced a little bit by... almost got replaced a little bit by, like, cop stuff, in terms of just, like, a dominant genre sort of film, like a buddy cop thing.
Because I
actually think superheroes are Westerns.
I look at modern day cowboys as, like, bikers. That's what I think.
I see what you're saying. So maybe something like a Sons of Anarchy kind of thing.
Which is very well. That is very like westerny.
So,
yeah, like it's a lot of like stagecoach robbing kind of stuff.
I
like,
mean, you have
they're like pulling over big rigs and shit like that. Yeah,
you have the idea of like the convoy. They're on the motorcycles instead of horses. Yeah, actually,
like John Bon Jovi said, "On a steel horse I ride."
That's interesting.
I'm a cowboy.
Well, I mean, it fits with that version of vigilante that they threw in the Justice League cartoon that gave him the motorcycle. They were, I guess, kind of playing with that idea a little bit. I mean, he wasn't a biker like Hell's Angels.
Biker Batman.
Biker Batman?
Yeah, that'd be kind of badass.
Isn't that kind of what that Gotham City Garage like series is? Sort of. It's kind of like a greaser DC universe.
Biker Batman from Mars.
Shut up.
Did you ever watch Biker Mice from Mars?
No.
Oh my god, it was like an amazing cartoon in the 90s.
I think really just Vigilante and Super Chief might be the only like real Western themed ones that can count as even kind of modern, because the Super Chief is a mantle that's passed down.
Can Jonah Hex be redone without stirring too many feathers?
Well, Jonah Hex has come into the modern era. Like, he's been transported through time. I don't know if you count that or not, because the character himself is still from, like, the Civil War era. But
well, there's a lot going on now that you could put him in, and it's fairly still...
Wait, is Jonah Hex still running? Like...
Jonah Hex...
No. Until the day he
All-Star
dies.
Western was canceled after 39.
And is there any other, like...
And I don't think he's really shown up since.
Is there any other Western comics that are going on?
No, there are no Western genre comics in the main DC universe continuity that are happening. There are things, as were mentioned in previous, like Preacher, I think kind of counts as a Western.
Yeah.
American Vampire, which was a Scott Snyder book, that definitely counts as a Western. Those are...
I can't say it right. Can you do it, please? Yeah, it's almost there. It feels like you're half-assing it. Just one more time. Come on.
In some ways, I know it's more high fantasy, but in some ways, I would say that Saga counts as a Western. Were you reading Saga?
No, I never really got a chance to.
I think that it has elements of that genre in it. That the biker thing is interesting.
Sorry to hijack your question.
No, that's all right. I'm thinking about that biker thing now. You should.
I'm apologizing to our listeners. No, I'm giving you food for thought. There's a difference there.
And then apologize.
Nope.
Just for everything.
Just apologize to me, please.
Never going to do it.
Just
Never going to
apologize.
apologize.
I'm going to watch you apologize to me.
You're going to apologize to you. I'm going to apologize to Richard.
You guys are both
He's going to apologize to us. Two-trick pony right here.
Yeah, two-trick.
So, I mean, I guess the answer is that sort of some of that motorcycle-y stuff would work. And I think,
but there's not really like a ton of even those characters. I mean, if you really want to stretch it, and this is very, very stretching it, characters like Black Canary and Green Arrow are the kind of motorcycle riding Robin Hood kind of, like, those themes fit the Western genre. I wouldn't say they're like the evolution of the Western or anything like that, but if you're looking for like a modern hero that would fit naturally in the sort of tropes of Western genre, I would throw Green Arrow, Black Canary in there, or the Huntress, or something like that. Detective characters, I think, work well in the Wild West. So you could maybe make an argument that you could do like a cool Western question or something like that. The Questern.
Boom, there you go. I think that we're ready to see a new like Western comic.
I would love to. All-Star Western, that new 52 one, was a good book.
I would volunteer my likeness to that.
Yeah, you keep doing that.
You did that for Ragman too, didn't you?
But I can have a mask on in that one, so it's all good.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd volunteer your likeness for? Any other characters?
No. Just keep it broad. Nice and broad.
I would take on a Batman kind of thing.
Do you think you have the physique for Batman?
Yeah, I could hit the gym.
You sure? Okay,
sure.
I ran for like 6 minutes today.
Wow.
Well, in that case, he's already there.
Yeah, that's basically
the rest of Batman is just gadgets.
We just have to kill your parents in an alley and you're set.
Well,
I'm glad I did that.
We've had a good run.
Yeah,
we were a nice family.
All right, those are some great questions this week.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah. Definitely. I like seeing that we're getting new people on through email all the time too, which is nice.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting different names every week.
Yeah, exactly.
Let us know if you're a second time emailer, because
Second time emailer.
I don't always
first-time question
remember.
taker.
yeah. Well, somebody said it like a week or two ago, and it was nice.
I just want to say before we like wrap up that since we're talking about like a genre comic like westerns, Colin, always surprising me, has gotten me more romance comics.
see what he gave me. It's right underneath.
What is it?
Under in the cubby hole.
Holy shit! You got so much more than I did.
They're all from one thing.
Oh Jesus, Jughead.
It's quality.
If only
over
we knew
quantity.
someone that liked this.
I know. Yeah. I have no idea.
There's a lot in there. It's obnoxious amount.
But
of stuff.
thank you, Colin, for the comic books.
Yeah, no worries.
Almost makes up for not being here. You know how you can make up for
More
it?
gifts.
No, just don't show up next week.
I'm like a really great stepdad.
But here's the thing.
Come on, we're cool.
Here's the thing.
I got you comics. You like those, right?
Colin wasn't here. We thought he was dead. He's back. What a perfect time to say that we have Zombie Colin t-shirts available in our merch store.
That's right. And what's going to be the questions for what's the theme next week?
Theme next week is martial artists. We're going to talk about the best fighters in DC.
You know, it's a lot of. We might have to do some
This is Batman, isn't it?
battles there.
Yeah, you can send some like battle things in like we did for Fight Night, but we're also going to like
let's do
discuss.
another one of those.
We're going to discuss some of the characters in more depth too. It won't just strictly be a Fight Night thing, but
Can
we
we-
could definitely take on some of those ideas.
Can we do a thing where we have to pick one and then do the whole like my dad's stronger than
That's
your
what
dad
we
thing?
did a whole episode of that.
Yeah, you were here.
Oh, crazy!
Well, I didn't. I wasn't actually sure if he was or not.
Yeah, he was.
I really like Instagram. Apparently,
Well, if you want to send in some questions about some martial artists in the DC universe or the DC worlds, I guess.
Well, that's just the film.
I'm trying. I'm trying to. I'm jumping on
learn
board.
the lingo.
Yeah, exactly. You could do so through our various social media platforms.
Hit
such
us
as
up on Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast.
Twitter,
At Dr. DC.
yeah, Instagram.
Dr. DC Podcast.
Don't forget to email.
DrDCPodcast at gmail.com.
Go to our website.
DrDCPodcast.com or .ca.
If you go to our website, you can go to our merch page and get some of all of our fancy new shirts.
Zombie Colin.
Edit point.
Because Speed Force. Jason Momoa's Mimosa Samosas.
Our faces are on a towel.
Yes,
Yep.
you can sit on our faces if you want.
Yeah, thank you.
Those are all great things. You can help support the show through that way. Another way you can support the show is go to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. Write something fun and we'll read it on the show. Maybe do a What Colin Does and we'll have him read it in the beginning.
Yeah.
Getting those 5-star reviews definitely helps us out a lot. And you guys are doing great. I think we're at like 15 reviews right now. So we're heading towards 52, which means that we'll do the Superman for All season. So keep
right.
sending those reviews in. We're doing really great.
Slow down, you guys. Slow
So,
it down.
I'm so proud of you guys.
Make Richard
I'm
write
so
them.
proud
I
of
love you so much.
Just make
I
him
love you
write
so
all
much.
of them.
You guys are great. All right. Well, I think that's it for this week.
Some kind of sign off.
Adios.
Ciao.
Was that Italian?
I don't know. It was,
Are you sneezing?
it was an amalgamation of a lot of different
What was
accents.
that?
Ciao.
Are you okay?
Ciao.
All the superheroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure.